Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of The Real Show, where we are real people giving you real content on real estate. So, we've got a great episode planned for you today. We're going to be talking about everything that you need to know, whether you're upsizing or downsizing on your next home purchase. So, I'm joined today by my co host, Alfredo Torres. Say hello, Alfredo.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching.
So let's jump right into it. Again, my name's Jordan Rossman. And Alfredo, can you talk to us a little bit about the financial implications when it comes to a mortgage, whether you're upsizing or downsizing?
Absolutely. So the mortgage implications, one of the best things about upsizing or downsizing, if you have the option, is porting. Because porting your mortgage is basically when you want to transfer your existing mortgage from your current home over to your new home. So basically you're just transferring it over, and that's as basic and simple as I can explain it. They just use the word porting in the mortgage world. And basically when you port your mortgage, the process is very similar to when you buy a home. It's very much, you have to get your credit checked. They review everything. You have to get your income reviewed and confirmed. So you'll need your job letter and your pay stubs. The existing lender that you have is the lender that you'll continue with when you port, because you're transferring it over. You're not moving companies, and they'll review the property itself to make sure that the property is up to the standards, just like any time when you buy your home. And so you'll have to go through that process when it comes time to upsize or downsize when you're in midterm. So in regards to porting, it can go 4 ways. First way is a transfer over of the exact loan amount. So if you're just finding a newer home, or if you get a bargain on the upsale or on the upside, or if you're looking to downsize but you don't care, you're fine to hold as much of a mortgage as you currently hold, that's a straight transfer. That's an easy port. You qualify, done and finished. The next one would be if you're upgrading and you are upsizing to a much larger mortgage. What happens is the existing mortgage that you have at your old home, let's call it 200,000 at I don't know, like a fixed rate of 2.3% is what you were offered at the time. Well, you need another, let's say 200,000 after your down payment and everything. You'll be offered that 200,000 at the current rate at the time that you're doing that process. So if, like, let's say that's today, maybe it's 2.54, and then what the banks do is they do a calculation and basically blend the rate. So if it's 2.3, 254, you're sitting in the 2.4, 2.35, whatever it may be. Let's say 2.4. So you'll finish your term if you have 2 years, 3 years left, 4 years, whatever. But you'll finish your term at that blended rate for the total loan amount. And that's what happens if you're looking to buy a house that is more. If you're looking to downsize, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. A lot of lenders have what is called a lump sum payment to your mortgage. So if you are looking to downsize and you don't need as much as a loan, you can use that lump sum payment privilege. Some lenders do it for 10%, some do 15, some do 20. So you got to make sure you check in with your lender, see what the maximum lump sum you can put down, because if you are taking a smaller mortgage, there will be a prorated penalty up to a certain point. And if you exceed that point, I think it's 25% or something of the existing loan amount, then you will have to pay the full penalty to break the mortgage. Now, if your mortgage rate is low and you're getting another low rate, you might want to break that mortgage, because the penalty should be minimal. And at the same time, you're securing yourself probably for another 5 years if you choose that option. But if your rate's a lot higher, this is where porting can really save you a lot of money, because the penalty, if it's the IRD that you end up paying over the 3 months interest, could mean a whole lot of savings. It all depends. So that's something where you really need to run the numbers. Now, a tip for you also is not every single mortgage is portable. Variable mortgages are not portable, so you would have to pay the 3-month interest penalty. And also in some fixed mortgages with certain lenders, it is also not an option to have the ability to port your mortgage over. So you need to check with your lender and find out if you're going to make this transaction to upgrade or downsize, you need to know if you can port before you kind of assume that you can do all this. Because if you can, that's great. But if you can't, then you already know, hey, I just have to break it and move forward. Now, the last bit is breaking your mortgage. If you do break your mortgage, you do get that security of a new mortgage. You can choose any term, and you can choose the same lender or another lender that may offer a better competitive rate. So those are the details regarding porting your mortgage. So let's talk about now what happens when you upsize or downsize in regards to the actual property and the lifestyle. So Jordan, give us some information on that stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alfredo. So before I do that, before I get into the real estate side of upsizing and downsizing, I see we've got a few people watching live here. So I'm going to ask you guys in the comment section below, really quickly, is your next house going to be an upsize or a downsize from where you're currently living? Upsize or downsize? In the comment section below, we would love the feedback. I'm actually monitoring the chat right now as we speak. So anyways, when we get into, let's start off with downsizing. So typically when people downsize, usually it's an older couple or someone who's really trying to simplify their life, typically around retirement age, trying to simplify things. Maybe the kids have moved out. Maybe, you know, it's just them living alone in the house now. For whatever reason, they've made the decision that they no longer need as much space as they've got. So it's time to go from their bigger house into a smaller house or condo or maybe even a rental. So typically the issue that I find, the things that's hardest for people is getting used to living in a smaller space and getting used to living without some of their stuff. A lot of people have lived in their house for 20, 30, 40 years. They've grown accustomed to a lot of their things. And when they move to a smaller place, unfortunately, they have to get rid of some of that stuff. So the first thing that I ask people to do when they're talking about downsizing is make a list of all of the things in your house that you absolutely cannot live without. Whether that's your favorite chair or a grandfather clock or a dining room table or whatever those things in your house that you really can't live without, you need to write those down and make a list. The next thing you need to do is go through your house, actually walk through your house with a piece of paper, take note of every room that you go into and write out, you know, do I need a living room and a dining room? Do I need a separate family room for watching TV? Do I need a big kitchen? How many bathrooms do I need? How many bedrooms do I need? Go through your house and make a list of all of the actual attributes of a house that you feel like you absolutely need. So the flip side of that, once you've done that, go through your house, look at the things in your house and the attributes of your house that you really feel like you don't need. So if there's stuff that you say, I haven't used this in years, I could get rid of it, write that down. So those are the things that you're going to either want to sell or donate, give away, throw out, whatever you need to do to get rid of those things, make that list of the stuff that you don't need. So once you've made the list of the things you can't live without and the things that you absolutely don't need, you'll typically have a bunch of stuff, probably the majority of the stuff in your house that's on the fence. Once you've got those two lists and you start looking at houses, you can start planning. So if you find the house that you really like, you can, again, make that next list of, okay, this is not going to fit, this may fit. Basically, what you want to do is, the end goal is to get rid of as much stuff as you possibly can to fit into the smaller house. If you've got a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square foot house, that's not all going to fit into a tiny condo if that's what you're looking to downsize to. So on the flip side of that, you know, I don't want this to sound like doom and gloom in terms of you've got to get rid of all of your stuff. The upside to downsizing is that you accomplish that goal of simplifying things. So if you've got a smaller house, you've got less stuff to clean. If you've got a smaller property, you've got less grass to cut and typically a smaller driveway to plow. And so the maintenance, the utilities, the overall upkeep of the house will typically become easier when you downsize. So now let's look at the flip side of the equation. Maybe you're a young family. Maybe you bought a small condo or a small house as your first home. Your family's growing, your needs are growing. You need to buy a bigger house. again, there's a goal in mind, Alfredo. So the goal being you need more space. You've outgrown the current place that you're living in, and you need more space. So in a bigger house, you're going to accomplish that. Maybe you want a bigger backyard, a bigger property. Upsizing is going to accomplish that. Now, I will share a couple words of caution when it comes to upsizing. So with a bigger house comes bigger responsibilities and eventually bigger costs. So if you're in 1,000 square foot home and the shingles need to be replaced, it's going to be a very different cost than replacing the shingles on a 4,000 square foot house. A bigger yard, again, on the flip side of downsizing, a bigger yard, you're going to have to maintain the property. There's going to be more upkeep from day to day when you upsize to a bigger home. So this really segues us nicely into our pro tip section, your favorite part.
Absolutely. I love pro tips. It's a pro tip time.
Alfredo loves his pro tips. So the pro tip around upsizing your house is a general rule of thumb. This is something that Alfredo and I have put together based on our experience in upsizing and downsizing, is that you can expect about 1% of the purchase price of your home as an annual maintenance cost. So, for example, if you buy a house that's $300,000, you can expect approximately $3,000 a year in maintenance and upkeep. If you're upgrading from a $300,000 house to $1 million house, you can expect that $3,000 a year to go to about $10,000 a year. So that's a bit of a double-edged sword. If you're upgrading, it's going to be an upgraded cost. If you're downsizing, you can expect to save on those costs. So Alfredo, do you have a pro tip for us tonight?
Absolutely. My pro tip would be awareness of your financing. It's kind of like what I always talk about, but you need to know if you're going to do something like this, find out if you can port, because if you can port, you could probably save a lot of money. If you can't port, then at least you know, and you're not going to slow down your process when you're looking to get another property and the whole mortgage flow of things. Some mortgages are portable, some mortgages aren't. And then if it is portable, you still want to go and sit with your mortgage contact and find out, run the numbers, find out how much you save. Is it worth it? Maybe it's worth paying the penalty and getting a new mortgage because of rate security. It all depends. So that's my pro tip to you guys.
It seems like all of our pro tips all have the same common theme, and that's doing your homework. So make sure that whether you're upsizing or downsizing, you meet with your mortgage professional, you meet with your realtor, talk about everything that you're going to need to consider, and make sure you do that homework. So that's all we've got for today. We kept it pretty brief. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you, everybody who tuned in live. And as this is being saved as a recorded video, thank you, everyone who's going to watch it afterwards. So we're super excited to bring you episode number 6 next week, Tuesday, live at 7 p.m. Take care, everyone.
Take care.